Bill is walking along the beach. He just finished his lunch and he needs to throw the empty trash bag away. But Bill doesn't see a trash can in sight, so he just decides to chuck it into the beach. As Bill walked to his car, ready to finish his night off with some ice cream, a baby duck gets tangled in the bag and suffocates and dies. This is pollution, and it is destroying our planet and its inhabitants. Pollution is destroying marine life and forests. The ocean is home to many aquatic animals and plants. Many species and plants are suffering at our own expense. For instance, aquatic weeds. There's many plants and algae growing in our coral reefs in the oceans. And what we don't know is a lot of our actions and choices affect these plants and animals and these plants. And the animals that live in the ocean, they feed on these plants, and some of them actually have to hide from predators. Some actually, it's actually a danger for some of them because some of them actually choke on it. Too much of it is not a good thing as well. Um, in certain areas, like in Florida, where there's a lot of swampland, there's a problem with too much algae growing, and that is actually our own fault. Many fertilizers that farmers use to grow their crops and natural sewage, like from using our own bathrooms and our septic tanks, they leak as well. All of those things, when it rains and all that, it all just flows right into our oceans and streams and rivers and lakes, and it affects all these algae and weeds in the ocean, and it makes them grow more. And some of them that it can just take them out completely, which there goes some food sources for some of the animals that fed on those exact weeds and algae. Another pollution is noise pollution. This is one that's not really common to a lot of people. A lot of people don't really know about noise pollution, but it's got a great effect as well. Noise pollution is basically noise that disrupts the lives of many animals in the ocean. For instance, the boats and the ships, when they have their loud sirens and all of the equipment that searches things on the ocean floor and just things that are not naturally occurring. They're making all these noises, and these noises, they have sound waves. And these sound waves can travel for feet and yards away. And when they come to the animal's ear, it can disrupt them. It can disrupt mating, hibernation. It can disrupt the way an animal interacts. If the animal even wants to stay in this place because he heard an unknown noise, it has a drastic effect. And maybe the dolphins and whales are the ones who are affected most. And the dolphins could end up leaving, not mating that year, or the whales could end up feeling like they're in danger, and they too will leave. It's a big effect. Another pollution is the toxic chemicals, and that has to do with like oil spills, which actually only accounts for 12% of the population of this world, which is kind of to people who don't know much about population, odd fact, because that's one of the things most people know, especially because it got so much publicity on the news. But it's not as big as noise pollution and as fertilizing pollution. The toxic chemicals from oil spills, it doesn't happen as much, but it's still a very bad thing. I mean, when it happens, its effects are horrendous. But yes, oil spills. There actually were people dumping toxic chemicals, like to get rid of that they couldn't dispose in their house. They would go and then just dump it in nearby lakes, rivers, streams, oceans. And there are a lot of national laws that are now being made so that we can prevent that from happening. But still, there are still some that still do it in some areas that are not regulated. Pollution is also affecting our forests. Forests are diminishing. There is something called acid rain. Acid rain is when sulfur dioxide and oxides of nitrogen become abundant in our atmosphere. And in our atmosphere, we already have water and oxygen. And when water and oxygen meet with sulfur dioxide and oxides of nitrogen, it produces acidic rain. Acidic rain is very dangerous for our forests. acidic rain kills our trees. And when our trees get killed, that's really bad for our air. But we'll talk more about that in a little bit. Acid rain affects the soil that our trees grow in, and that is that is actually happening a lot more than what it used to a few years ago. Sulfur dioxide and oxides of nitrogen get into our air more abundantly from factories, the smoke that you see, from our cars, from 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 aerosol cans. There's many things that produce these things, and it is our responsibility to try and diminish these things. Another thing that is ruining our forests are the deforestation by humans. A lot of us want more shopping malls, or maybe we want a new library. We'll just go in and tear out all the trees, and that takes away from the environment and the homes of so many animals in that location. We just go in and wipe it completely out, and that actually affects our air as well, because trees absorb carbon dioxide and release oxygen into the air. Oxygen is what we need to breathe, and oxygen is good to have in abundance in our air. And we do have plenty of it, but when you start taking trees out more and more, you start seeing a decline, and that is very dangerous. And another thing that is destroying our forests are forest fires. There's an increased amount of forest fires. I'm sure if you turn on the news, you can see one right now. Forest fires have to do with our climate changing, and our climate is changing because of the pollution of the air that we are attributing to, which all goes back to the factories with the smog that they release, and the cars that we drive, which is why a lot of us could start thinking about electric cars, because they don't release carbon monoxide. There's a lot of things that are disrupting our atmosphere in the air, and this is what happens is when our atmosphere is not balanced, and when there's not much uh, when there's too much carbon dioxide and sulfur and phosphorus, these trees, because the climate gets so hot and our earth is getting hotter and hotter, they just rapidly start burning, and it spreads, and there goes lives of and homes of many other animals. So, where does this leave you? You have a part to play. It's time to go green. How can we go green? We can use less plastic bags. For instance, in Bill's example, if he would have used the lunch bags that he could reuse over and over again, he wouldn't have had to throw away the trash bag. Using less plastic bags help us so that they don't end up in our oceans. It also helps us so that we don't have to worry about just natural pollution going on in our Earth. You can also help take care of the ocean. There's plenty of volunteer programs. You can just go on your own and go to the beach, pick up an empty soda can that you see, glass bottles, anything that is not naturally occurring, pick it up. Put it in a recycle bin. Get recycle bins at home. Start recycling so we can reuse some of our resources so that we don't have to continue to waste our planet's resources. Use less paper and wood. That'll help with our forests. We cut down so many trees. We use so many trees to make paper, to make toilet paper. Try and be resourceful. A lot of things are done online now. Try switching online so that way you don't have to print. So you don't have to mail or send a letter. Just do it through email. See what ways you can be efficient in using less paper and wood. And also get involved in politics. You have a say. If you see a politician that is running as a candidate and he wants to help out with the pollution of forest or marine life, and you see his actions, give him a vote. Go in there, or let your local representatives know what you want taken care of, because you do have a say. Pollution is not inevitable. We can fix it. There are many different types and causes of pollution. Our choices, lifestyles, and actions have consequences on the environment we live in. Protecting our forests and marine life is crucial, and we all play a big part. So next time you're in Bill's place, please hang on to that trash bag, and let's try and save a life on our planet. Thanks for watching.